So please turn to page 57. Okay, last time we mentioned that if we have two distinct roots, right, discriminant has to be greater than 0, right, positive. One real root has to be 0, no real roots, right, negative, right, discriminant. So you can use that rule to find number of roots in an equation, okay? Now we are going to go backwards, okay? They are giving you an equation again as well, right? If you look at question 14, they also give you equation, but the problem with the equation is it's missing part, right? Because usually we need to see look at question 13a, right? We need to see, oh, that's the A, this is the B, this is the C, right? And then you plug into the discriminant. But then now question 14a is the other way around, okay? They tell you the A, but then A has an unknown, right? B is okay, B is a coefficient, C is right there. So this time they are asking you to find the value of K that can give you the type of the solution indicated, right? So giving you backwards, they tell you that we want to have an equation. For example, this one, we want to have imaginary roots. So what kind of K can give you that? Okay, so the key word is imaginary roots. When you see imaginary roots, what do you need to have? Anybody? What do you think of imaginary roots? We have three kinds of roots, right? Which one is like the imaginary roots? We didn't mention about imaginary. Maybe I did, just briefly. Which one is the imaginary roots? Does anyone know? Colin, do you know?
Negative.
Negative, yes, okay. So we imagine, right? You can sort of to think of that way. For the one that has negative, we call that imaginary because we can't really evaluate a number for it, right? It's a square root of a negative 11. So you can put a bracket on the side, right? No real roots means you have two imaginary roots. Okay, the reason why it's 2 is because the formula, right? The formula is it has negative b plus minus. Okay, so if you get a negative, right, you have negative b plus minus root of negative 11 over 2a, right? So you get one answer that's plus, the other one is minus. But then since you can't really evaluate that, right? So we just call that imaginary, okay? So let's go back to there, right? So over here. So imaginary roots means discriminant has to be negative, right? We're going backwards, okay? Before was we find out discriminant, we know it's negative, so we know it's imaginary. Now we know it's imaginary, therefore it's negative. We'll keep going backwards. Discriminant, what's the formula for discriminant? Nathan?
Is it b squared take away 4ac equals to triangle?
Yeah, equals to triangle. Yeah, so triangle part has to be less than 0, right? Because imaginary roots. And then triangle is found by using b squared minus 4ac, right? That's the triangle part, has to be negative, right? So left side is the triangle, right side is the 0, right? In the middle is the less than, right? And then all we need to do is just plug in the values, right? B squared, B is negative 2, minus 4AC. Okay, we follow so far. Anyone has questions? We're going backwards. And then from here, we just try to find k, right? So it'll be 4. Let's simplify this part. Okay, be careful with the numbers here, right? We have a 4 and -3. We'll multiply those two first. So that will give us a positive 12. And you FOIL the 12 in, okay? So 12k plus 12. Okay, and then we have 12k plus 16 less than 0. And then isolate k, 12k less than -16. Now be careful here, right? If you remember, sometimes we have another topic on this one. This is called inequality, okay? If we divide both sides by a negative number, then we need to flip the sign. The less than, greater than, you need to flip it around. But here, because we are dividing by 12, right? We need to divide by 12, but then the 12 is not negative. So you don't need to flip, okay? But if you need to divide by a negative number to isolate, you need to flip. So this one still stays, okay? Stays at -16/12, which is -4/3. So what does that mean? Okay, can you raise your hand if you got everything down to here, okay? Yeah, please raise your hand if you copy everything down to here. So we found an answer that's k less than -4/3. So that means k can be a lot of values, right? Any number that's less than -4/3 will make it work. Okay, so let's try an integer, okay? So can someone give me a k value, an integer one, okay, easier to test, that is less than -4/3? Yosher, can you give us an integer?
-1.
-1, is that smaller than -4/3?
Never mind. -2.
Yeah, -2 will work. Yeah, okay, because -4/3 is like -1 and 1/3, right? You want smaller than that. So let's say I test -2, okay? So let's just do on the side, test, right? You don't need to do the test, it's just to help you understand better. So let's say if k is -2 then, okay? And I plug into our question, okay? The value for a will become -2 plus 1, so that will be -1, right? Minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Any question how I figure that out? Okay, I plug the -2 into the original question, right? So the value for a will be -1 now. And now if I try to get discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. Okay, and I plug it in, find the answer now. So 4, and then this will be negative, give you positive, right? These two are negative. So that will be, the multiply will be -12. So this is -8, right? And this -8 is negative. And because it's negative, it's imaginary roots. Okay, do you understand what we are doing? So when k, if you pick a value for k, that is smaller than -4/3. So this example, Yosher pick -2, right? And it will guarantee to have imaginary roots. So no matter what you pick. As long as it's smaller than -4/3, it will give you the imaginary roots. Okay, so you have infinite number of k values. That's why we use inequality. Okay, please raise your hand if you understand this question.
Jason,
Yeah, Colin.
I also have a question. How come, like, when you send your homework, you didn't put like a page where you could submit the homework aid corrections?
Oh, okay. I haven't. Yeah, you already done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Later, I will open it up. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I haven't created one yet. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Colin, Sarah, do you understand A? Okay. So I would like you to try question B. Okay, question B by yourself now. And C and D is a bit different, okay? So we're gonna work C together and I'll let you try D, all right? So do question B first. When you finish question B, you can raise your hand. Instead of X, they use Y, okay? So don't worry about that, right? So just treat the Y as X. So the coefficient, right, is the A will be the 1, right? A will be the 1, B will be this, C is this whole thing, okay? So remember K is a number that you want to find. This time we want to have equal real roots. So think about which one is the same as equal real roots. If anyone is stuck, you can ask the question. If you have roots that are equal, then that's the same as one real roots, okay? So if you can also add this in, okay? Sometimes they word it differently, right? 2 equal real roots. Okay, it means the same thing. Okay, when you have found a K, you can raise your hand. Okay, I will write out first couple lines, okay? See if you can check if you're on the right track. So equal real roots, right, means the discriminant has to be 0, right? Same as one root. You fill things into the formula. B squared minus 4AC has to be 0. And then your B is K plus 2 minus 4AC. Okay, please raise your hand if you have the answer for K. Okay, Aaron, Brennan, and Yosher, any trouble or you're almost done?
I'm not sure.
To go from here, or can you tell me how much you got?
I'm not sure how to go from here.
From here, it will simplify it, right? Where would you start to simplify? Can you try?
The square.
Yeah, okay, so let's square that. Do you know how to square that?
Is it k squared plus 4k plus 4?
Yeah, very good. Keep going. And then what about the other part?
Minus 8k.
Perfect, right? Anything else you can simplify?
The k squared minus 4k plus 4.
Yeah, you combine the like terms. See, you can do it. Okay, so you just don't be afraid, right? Do what you think is right. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. And then from here, we need to solve, right? How do we solve this one? Think about the 5 methods that we learned. Which one should we try to use?
The cross multiply.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so you tried that. Okay, so this one should be factorable. Okay, give you more time. Okay, if you can get the answer, raise your hand. Okay, let's try to also get some answer from those people who finished. Okay, Colin, what do you have for K?
2.
2. Anything else? Just 2?
I just have 2, yeah.
Okay, okay. How about Brennan?
I have 2 as well.
You have 2, okay. Sarah? Huh?
Yeah.
2? You said 2?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yes. For some reason, your mic is always not very easy to hear. Okay, Joshua, have you factored it yet?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you have?
2.
Okay, k is 2. So k minus 2, k minus 2, right? If you do the cross factor, give you k equal to 2. So this one, this time is not inequality, right? So that means 2 is the only value that can make the original equation to have equal real roots, okay? So which means your equation will look like y squared plus, because k is 2, right? So 4y plus 4, okay? So this question, right, this equation you have, if you do the discriminant, it will equal to 0, okay? But then your answer is the red box, right? So let's look at question C. Question C will be a little bit different, okay, if you try to do the same thing, okay? So before we begin using the K, okay, I want you to understand something first. When you see the 2 different real roots, it means the discriminant has to be what? Nathan?
Should it be like triangle is greater than 0?
Yeah, should be positive, right? It's the same as 2 distinct real roots, the first one up on the chart, okay? So this time we have a greater than 0. Now, before we start using the formula, okay? You can draw a little line, or later we'll draw the line, okay? So if I have something, okay, something square equal to 0. Okay, let's do it on the side, okay? So you can write on the side notes, okay? If it's something square equal to 0, then this one is not equal to 0, equal to, let's say, 36. okay? Something squared equal to 36. And then we know that we need to take the square root, right? So square root, and don't forget you need plus minus, okay? Let's say we just, okay, then we just use brackets. So equal to plus minus root 36, which means the bracket will equal to plus minus 6. This one everybody knows already. Okay, anyone has question about this? Now things get more interesting when we have inequality. Okay, second case, if you have something square, if it's greater than 36, then if I try to do the same thing, okay, and then do the same thing, square root both sides, then you will be writing something greater than plus minus 6. Then that's a weird answer, right? Because you're saying the mystery value is bigger than 6 or bigger than -6. Then which one is your answer? Right? What are you actually saying, right? Is it bigger than 6 or bigger than -6? You have to be clear. So what should we do then? Right? If it's inequality. If it's 6, it will be equal to 36, right? Case 1. If it's -6, square will be 36. But what if we want the answer to be greater than 36? What kind of number square can be bigger than 36? Anybody?
7 or 8.
Yeah, very good. 7, 8, 9, right? So anything bigger than 6 will work, right? Because 6 will make it equal. So let's sort of skip to the end, right? So we could have x, not x, the bracket, okay? The mystery number must be greater than 6, right? Like 7, 8, 9. Any other numbers other than bigger than 6? Is that the only numbers? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, those ones, anything bigger than 6? Is there another possibility if I square, the result can still be bigger than 36? Think. Anyone? What other numbers square? Other than the bigger than 6. Yeah, you're sure?
-789.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so it's on the negative side. Okay, like -7 squared will make it positive, right? Positive 49, that will become bigger than 36. So we can say the number has to be smaller than -6. Okay, so when you have an inequality, you cannot follow the same way that you did before and then say square root both sides and greater than plus minus 6. It won't be like that. Okay, so it will split. Okay, so the way to do the one that has inequality. Okay, let's write down the step. Now we know the answer, right? So first, okay, so for this one, you can think of it, pretend it's equal first, right? And then you get plus minus 6, right? But then plus minus 6 only give you the kind of like the boundary lines, right? You have the 6, here's the number line, okay? If it's inequality, okay, let me put a red box. Then the answer should be greater than 6, right? This means greater than 6. Or smaller than -6. Okay, let me write smaller than -6. Okay, if the box is the x. Any questions so far? Okay, so if it's inequality, you actually get 2 inequality as your answer. So let's see what happens if it's the third case. Less than, right? This time the x is less than 36. So what number, plug it in, can be smaller than 36 when you square? Anyone? Anybody can answer?
5.
5, yeah. What else?
Like the numbers like below 6 and reaching -6.
Yes, very good. So it's kind of like the rest of the areas, right? So instead of bigger than 6 or less than -6, it'll be anything between 6 and -6. Okay, but before you know it's 6 and -6, you got to find the equal first, right? You got to do part 1, figure out where the boundary is. And then if it's greater than, it will be outside the boundary point. If it's less than, then it will be in between the boundary points. Okay, so let me write it down, right? So if you get something with less than, you still do the same thing. You try to find a boundary point, pretend it's equal, right? Figure this out. But then your answer will be now in between. Okay, so when you write the answer, you will say x is between. So in equality, you need to write it like this. And that will be the answer for this kind of scenario. Okay, so I would like you to draw a line here. Okay, so this is what will happen, okay, for these two questions, questions C and D. Okay, you will encounter this later, okay, in the steps. Okay, can you raise your hand if you are ready to move on, right, to do this question? Yeah, if you got everything down, you can raise your hand. Okay, so back to question C, right? It says discriminant has to be positive, right? So let's write that again. B squared, right? B is K, right? B is K. B squared minus 4A, A is 1. C has to be greater than 0. Okay, we'll simplify this. We'll get K squared minus 4 greater than 0. All right, and then we have K squared, right? We try to solve for K, right? You need to move the 4 over, greater than 4. So the common mistake here is you square root both sides and then say K greater than plus minus 2. Then that's wrong. Okay, so I'll let you try this. What do you do now? Okay, think about, is it case number 2 or number 3? Okay, think about this one. And when you have an answer, please raise your hand. Okay. Is there anyone having trouble here? So Nathan, is it case 2 or case 3? Nathan?
Sorry, my mic was. Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah. So does this one look like case number 2 or number 3?
Number 2.
Yeah, number 2. Okay, very good. Okay, please raise your hand if you found the answer. Anyone has trouble? This one shouldn't take that long. Okay, Colin, what do we do now?
You like write k equals plus minus root 4.
Mm-hmm. And then?
K equals k is greater than 2 or k is negative or less than 2 because like k equals plus minus 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
then k is greater than 2 or less than 2, negative 2.
yes, okay, very good. This one is a greater than. When you see greater than, it will be outside the boundary points. So when you write the answer, you have to write two separate answers. One is greater than 2, comma, less than negative 2. Okay, you cannot write it together because you get two separate lines. If it's only one single line, then you get only one answer. Okay, so you have the case 2, you will have two answers. Okay, do you have any questions? Yeah, okay. So you guys can try question D, okay? So we'll go over D and then we'll take a break, right? So you can raise your hand when you finish question D.
Jason,
Yeah, question D.
Jason, I have a question.
Yeah, what's the question?
So imaginary roots, does that just mean like no real root?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You imagine, so just like question 14A, right? Imagine roots, same as two imaginary roots. Yeah, so let me write that down, right? This one is same as no real roots. So depending on the textbook, okay, some textbook they use one way to say the same thing, right? The other one use different way. So I try to use some like both ways so you can learn both. Is there anyone having trouble, like doesn't know how to start? You can let me know, okay? So at least I can help you to get started. This one we need to have discriminant. What? What should the discriminant be? No real roots, right? No real roots should be negative. B squared minus 4AC negative. Are you guys done?
I'm just like stuck when it says like before like you actually solve it.
Okay, how about you tell me what's inside the blanks first?
K squared,
Yeah,
take away 4, then 3, then 2.
yeah. And did you do anything after this?
You would combine like the -4, the 3, and the 2.
Yeah. So what do I need to write?
K squared take away 24 is less than 0.
Yeah,
And then it's like K squared is less than 24.
yeah.
I'm just,
What?
I'm stuck there.
Okay. Then do you think this one is case 2 or case 3?
Case 3.
Then you follow the same step.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
Yep, you're welcome. Right? Then you think about, okay, this looks like case 3, right? You just follow the same thing. Of course, it won't be plus minus 6, right? You got to adapt to the question. Okay, please raise your hand if you finished. Okay, you just follow step by step. Find the plus minus. This one, it won't be perfect square, right? So you will leave your answer with the square root. Okay. So we can already expect the answer to be in between. Instead of outside the boundary point, it's in between the boundary points. Please raise your hand if you have finished. Okay, so let's get the roots, right? So K will be plus minus root 24. These are the two boundary points, right? But because of case 3, if it's less than, it has to be in between the boundary points, right? So you have the negative root 24, positive root 24 in between. So when you write your answer, you just write it out, put a K in between. Always open your inequality to the right. This is how you always write the in between, okay? 24. Okay, you can leave your answer like this, or if you remember how to simplify the square root, right? This square root, we can simplify it using factoring, right? So you can get a pair of 2 out, 6 inside, okay? So this is one answer, or you can write it as in between 2 root 6 or negative 2 root 6, either one, okay? Either the first answer or the second answer, they are both correct. Okay, so let's have a break. And after the break, we'll start on topic trigonometry, okay? Trigonometry, it's on, I think it's on the, is it first topic? Is it? Where is it? Yeah, over here. So it'll be page 1, okay? So I'll see you guys at 11:15. And if you have questions, you can ask me during the break. Okay, see you soon.